Congratulations, Red Sox Nation. We got to cover it all tonight. I mean, we're not a sports show, but tonight we half are anyway. I really shouldn't say that because more and more we'll put some sports stuff into here. In fact, tomorrow night, Bob Walsh, head coach of the Rhode Island College men's basketball team, will join us. They're playing PC on Saturday afternoon, and don't just think because it's an exhibition game that Rick won't give PC a little run for its money, but that's tomorrow. Happy Halloween, by the way. Here's what you do. As the doorbell rings, put this on pause. Go pause. Yeah, set it right. You know, I like you to watch this thing live because I get more credit for that. Just telling you, it's the business. But you're running the DVR, pause it and go out there, trick or treat, twosies, all right, okay? So get your rhythm. All right, we have Mike Stenhouse tonight. He's going to tell us that he thinks there was something really wrong with a vote made by the daycare providers that came out 39-19 to say, yes, let's join a union. So stay tuned for that and everything else we've got going on. But congratulations. Now, you know I'm a Yankee fan. If you just tuned in for the first time, hi, Dan Yorke, nice to meet you. I'm a Yankee fan. So you got to keep that in mind throughout this entire thing. But I think after being around here more than half my life, that I have some level of objectivity. And I was warmed. My wife's a Red Sox fan. I was warmed by all of this. You had to be. It was a great series, a great series. And this headline was terrific. You know what? I forgot. You know what? I'm so into this already. I forgot to go to the rundown. All right, let's go to the rundown. Sorry, Rox. It's because I'm about to fight with the crew about the second item here. Chumps to champs. Great headline. We'll show it to you. He was out, and that was pivotal. The star of the show was the little guy, and the Boston Strong thing, we got to talk about it a little bit more. Then in the news world, this Brown protest session is like therapy, and then Ken Block writes a big check. He said he would. Oh boy, he did. All right, let's get into it. Yeah, Chump the champ. Listen, listen, that's the pure sports of this whole thing. They were dead last year and just absolutely in a discombobulated state, and their turnaround deserves all the credit in the world. And here, of course, it was the end of the ball game. Well, here's the great headline in the Journal today. I thought that was creative. Chumps to champs, and a terrific picture. And of course, you've seen this already 16 times, the end of the ball game. And that's it. For the first time in 643 years at home, the Sox win the World Series at home, at home, at home, at home. All right, it was great. Listen, it's great. Again, I'm with you. I am with you. But can we just talk about this? Because if this third run doesn't score on this triple in the third inning, I think this game is a little bit different. Now, here's the pick. He was out. Thank you, right? He was out. 15 years an umpire. I'm telling you, he had the wrong angle on this one. We've got a picture. First of all, Jess makes a great point. Look at that. That's an award-winning picture in the Boston Herald. It's one of the very few environments in sports where the players themselves can absolutely influence such a pivotal call. As an umpire, we used to call that a banger. That's a banger. You know, it's either a banger or a banger, but it's a banger. Now look at this slowly. I'm telling you, roll this tape. Just saying, I lost this argument live, too, with the people I was watching the game with. But he's out! Oh, no! Tag him high. No, what?
Tag him high.
See, listen, you can hear them yelling.
No. Tag him high.
Oh, he's got him right. He's got him right. He's got him. Denise and Jess are over there. Rox, tackle them.
Tag him high.
He's out! Now, if he's out and it's 2-0, it changes the entire situation. I'm just saying. You know, and the Fox guys obviously are caught up with this whole Boston thing because they were like, oh, it's a terrific call. Your state of mind, you can respond. All right, what else? The great part of the evening, though, amongst many, because, I mean, you just can't pinpoint one great moment of the evening. But this little guy is just, is he not phenomenal? You know, Koji's son, the headline in the USA Today captures it. Best post-game interview ever, no doubt about it. Here's a picture of him from the ACLS with Erin Andrews, by the way, who did a very nice job in postgame in these broadcasts. She only asked the one dumb question. Did you ever think at the beginning of the year that you would be here? Every athlete visualizes winning, Erin, but for the most part, she does a very nice job in these postgame shows and conducted a spectacular interview with the pitcher's little guy.
How proud of you are you of your dad tonight?
Good.
How hard are you going to celebrate tonight, Kaz?
Crazy.
If all the interviews could be like that, If all the interviews that I bring here could be like that. I've been in this business 30 plus years, and if I long for the day that I can get answers like that from the people you're asking questions to. Sometimes less is more, and that is certainly an example of that. Now, on a semi-serious note here, this Boston Strong thing, I get it. It's a headline, of course. We've got headlines on this. Boston Strongest. Everyone's using this. I mean, you've got the Boston Strong logo cut into the center field. I understand, and of course, even David Ross, who is a charmer and who is the I don't know, the spiritual animal of my producer. Check your tweets. I don't even know what that means, but he spoke after the game, and it was heartfelt, no doubt.
I think this city loves us, and we love this city. I think it's special. Boston Strong. I mean, we've come a long way since that marathon, haven't we? This whole city has. Everybody's here together tonight, so this is a special moment for us, and I hope it's a special moment for these fans.
Going to keep the
Let's be clear, and there's a righteousness about this, right? So we have this event at the marathon, and we have this awful situation occur. And the team is kind of regrouping itself as it begins the beginning of the year. And the team actually visits some of the victims in the hospital, and they're charged by it. Is that real? Absolutely. That's absolutely real. There's no way you can deny that. Is the chemistry that developed on this team absolutely real? Absolutely. There's no way that you can deny that. Did it have an impact on the city of Boston? Absolutely. The region here in Rhode Island? No doubt. Is it a legitimate spiritual thing going on between Red Sox Nation, the Red Sox, and motivated by what happened that day? Yeah. But take a break, all right? This Boston Strong thing has become a commercial product. And when two losers, as their uncle called them, two loser thugs, create some homemade bombs and set them off at the Boston Marathon, we got to be very careful to create legacy based on that insane, gutless act. So let's calm down a little bit on this Boston Strong. That team was phenomenal. The celebration should go on. It's a terrific thing. Boston Strong is in overtime right now, because what we're doing is setting precedent for the next knucklehead, or 2 or 4 or 10, to think that they can change history and the future combined by taking lives. Just saying. Congratulations to Red Sox Nation. All right, in the news, Brown protest therapy session. Yeah, you know, so you had the commissioner of the New York City Police, who was invited to the Taubman Center for Public Policy a couple of nights ago, and he was shouted out of the place. And we've got pictures and all that kind of stuff of that. I think there's the Journal's pictures. There's one of the knuckleheads that ought to be prosecuted if he came from off the campus. And here's the commissioner himself. And here's some of the B-roll of the audio that came from our Steve Clampkin at WPRI Radio. I say R because that's the other place that I work. You know, and he never got the presentation on stop and frisk off the ground. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the policy, but I've never seen anything like this where Brown can't have a controversial point of view articulated and have a raucous debate over it. Well, listen, the next night now, we talked about this yesterday, now the next night they have this big seance where the President Paxson, brings everybody together for let's get it off our chest type of thing. And the Brown Daily Herald, the newspaper there, is the only media outlet that was allowed in there and covered it and then screwed it up. Yeah, the Brown Daily Herald. Here's what they reported that Marion Orr, the director of the Taubman Center, said. They write, Marion Orr, director of the center, which sponsored Kelly's lecture, meaning the police commissioner, expressed regret for the controversy. I sincerely apologize to my students, especially my black students and Latino brothers and sisters. It wasn't my intention to hurt you, and it hurts me to hear that my decision caused so much pain, or ask the students to submit a list of speakers whom they would not approve of coming to campus. Now, this has gotten some viral attention, Sarah, who wrote this whole thing. Look, he did apologize to his kids. How do I know that? I talked to him about this today, privately, because I needed to find out if he was lost his mind, and suggested that college kids ought to present a list as to who can't speak at Brown, please. He said he was being sarcastic, and I believe him. He was saying, come on, guys, I sincerely are bothered by the idea that you're bothered, but if we go down this road, what are you going to do? Give me a list of who I can't invite to speak here? I'm relieved that that's how he approached it, and I'm very disappointed over the college journalist who didn't get it right, and I'm really disappointed over Brown who didn't let any reporting get done, and I'm really disappointed that Brown is now considering not allowing the public into these events, which is why those guys from out of campus who made that protest should be arrested. Thank you. To the final item on our rundown tonight. Well, he said that he was going to invest in the campaign. Ken Block, the former moderate party leader who is now a Republican, recently registered this week, was a guest on my program, a couple of nights ago, and I asked him about his investment in his own campaign. I'm guessing you're going to end up putting a substantial amount of money, of your own money, into this campaign, yes?
That would be a good guess.
All right. As much as it takes to win type thing? Hundreds of thousands of dollars at least?
Yes.
Yes. Here's the headline. Today, ProvidenceJournal.com, because this just came out today on Kathy Gregg's reporting, Block has $547,000 plus on hand for his second campaign for governor. Here's the actual campaign finance reports. In full on the right and on the left, if you peek in there real hard, you'll see a little line item that says loan proceeds, $500,000. He's raised 47 G's, or perhaps some of that was a little bit of his money. The 500 is his own check. Not the first time a sugar daddy has entered into a political race, but what he's saying is he means business. $500,000. Alan Fung, who will announce next week, has a race on his hands because this guy Ken Block's got ideas and the money to express them. When we come back, he'll express himself. He thinks something dirty may have gone on here for a vote locally on daycare providers and all that. Stay with us. You know, I don't need your aggravation. He was safe?
I bet you can get that tag in time. You can't see when he actually hit his leg. The throw beat him, but you can't see when the tag hit him.
You know, I just don't know. Don't you think that was pivotal? 2-0 versus 3-0?
Oh, yeah. Huge.
As a former big-time guy in that game, what was your impression of the whole situation?
You know, I look at it less as a fanatic fan and more as a baseball critic. The Red Sox were the best team in baseball from day one to the end. They deserved it. John Farrell deserves to be the manager of the year. I thought it was a poorly played World Series from a fundamental point of view, but the drama was there.
And fun to watch.
Very dramatic, very fun.
You never expect the errors.
But no question the Red Sox deserved it.
You know, it's amazing kind of the spirituality that in baseball. It's such a hard game. You can't hit your way emotion. You still have to execute. Baseball is a game of execution, you know, so it's funny.
And it's a mental challenge. It's a mental drain.
Long grind.
It's a long grind, staying focused, not getting down, 2-0, 3-0. It does make a difference. Keeping focus is difficult.
See, we can talk a little sports here, but you know, it's also a long grind to try to keep your eyes on the ball here with state government and what the heck is going on. And you're the lone wolf here, man, on the daycare provider situation. Here's by the way, Mike runs the Center for Freedom and Prosperity in Rhode Island and does a lot of good work. Here's a headline that ran today. Rhode Island home-based child care workers vote overwhelmingly unionized. That came today on the news that by a number, you ready for this? We're not going to put it up because I'm going to verbalize it. 390 to 19. That was the vote of the daycare providers according to the State Labor Relations Board's paper tally that they say thumbs up to unionizing with the SEIU. Spew.
Alleged vote, first of all.
What do you mean?
It's Halloween. I don't know if the citizens got tricked, and I don't know if those providers are going to get any treats. That's the bottom line, because the unions tend to make a lot of promises they can't keep. There are so many, as we got into this issue, there were so many concerns raised and questions raised. The only allegation I can flat out make was that the State Labor Relations Board was completely non-transparent and silent on almost every issue we asked them about, and the disdain towards the taxpayers and citizens was overwhelming. We can get into that later.
Well, you know, because we're always short on time, you tried to intervene in this process. Explain shortly how.
Well, twice we tried to petition the SLRB about some things that would have made the process a little better, and twice they even refused to hear us. saying that we didn't have standing as a taxpayer. So they're disdain towards the taxpayer there. Second, when we tried to just go observe the process, we organized volunteers to go every single one of the election places. They were forcibly restrained by armed security, state troopers in some cases, local police and other, and a couple of people actually threatened with arrest.
You wanted your people to go into these voting places. It was a moving voting over like 4 or 5 days or something like that?
Yeah, 5 days.
5 days.
6 locations.
6 locations to make it easier. Wouldn't it be
4
nice
days.
for all of us voters to have, you know, pick and choose your shop? But no, they picked their place to vote, and you wanted to just observe, not lobby, observe how the voting was going and see if anybody else was lobbying them, and you were not allowed even in the facility.
Not even 200 feet near the front door.
Wow, that's tough stuff, man.
Now, we know for a fact that there are allegations of fraud in other states. We put a video up on our website of actual workers who talked about how their ballots were fraudulently cast.
I got to see that. That's rifreedom.org, by the way, rifreedom.org. Remember that.
Yep. And so we just wanted to observe that these providers were having a free and open election. Listen, we always knew they were going to win. But remember, you got to remember the bigger picture here. The unions aren't just looking to stop with this group. We know they're going after other groups next because they're going after them in other states, whether it's home health care providers or the larger daycare centers. So if they can publicize this overwhelming victory, they're going to use that as PR to say, see, people want to be unionized.
Okay, here's the thing. Going after folks who voted overwhelmingly to be gone after. We'll talk to Mike about that dynamic and exactly what's going on here with small business owners who feel like they can unionize. Stay with us. Good. So Mike Stenhouse is here from the Rhode Island Center for Freedom and Prosperity. rifreedom.org is the website that you should check out for more background on this conversation. But look, Mike's right. I mean, the daycare workers were going to approve this vote for joining the SEIU. But the idea, you're suggesting that the SEIU is going after these folks. Well, they seem to like the victimship, you know, by huge amounts. You put out a little thing a month or so ago trying to orient them. You brought an out-of-state daycare provider who's been fighting the fight in Minnesota. What'd you have, like 2 people show up? Because obviously your message didn't get across, right?
No, we didn't have many. We couldn't communicate. We got in late. We sent out a couple postcards, the first one in English, and then we realized that about 80–90% of the people we were told were Hispanic, so we did the second one bilingual. But it was way too late, way too little. The unions had been knocking on their doors, talking with them, making promises to them for months.
But the message was, understand, folks, the General Assembly passed a law, and the governor signed it, allowing for the union to petition the State Labor Relations Board in order to be able to accept a vote from the daycare providers. So it's all been done by your General Assembly to at least provide the foundation. But here's the funky part of the whole thing. You've seen enough precedent where daycare providers unionized in other states pay dues to the union and get nothing in return.
Well, that's what we talk about on these postcards, that you could end up paying dues and getting nothing in return. In most states, they haven't been successful getting health care or pensions or increased subsidy rates.
And vacation pay.
And vacation pay. And even if they do negotiate those things, the General Assembly still has to fund it. And how are we going to fund anything new in this state?
Right, so, right, so budgetarily, it may never come through for them. And if it does, you know what's going to hit the fan all over Kingdom Come.
Yeah, and think of the taxpayer. Who's representing the taxpayer? That's our thing in this whole thing, in this whole scheme. You know, the Journal put out a headline for them, taking the SEIU talking points. They called it victories when they got tax hikes in other states in order to pay these benefits. That's a victory when they get a tax hike. That's what we're up against. One other thing I want to mention about the actual election, if I could.
Yeah.
SEIU workers, we were told by the SLB, SEIU union workers were working the polls, and yet no one from the public was allowed to even observe. Now, you tell me if that's a fair election.
What's the process of appeal here, Mike? I was trying to figure out this today on the radio as the vote came through. How do you appeal what the State Labor Relations Board has done? They've got like this high staff function. I guess the courts, I guess you could sue.
Yeah, I don't think we have the capacity to get involved in that. We're just hoping.
I don't know who goes past the State Labor Relations Board when they make a decision. I'll have to investigate that.
Legally,
bottom line, though, the General Assembly is going to have to fund this thing, and the full court press will be the people with input to the legislators to say, you know what, you licensed them, you let them vote to unionize, but we're not going to pay them.
That's right. Remove that line item. So it's a two-step. So the battle's not over yet. Unionization won't cost the taxpayer anything unless they get the funding through. But either way, as we say on our fault, either way, they're going to pay dues, whether they get benefits or not.
And the customers, you know, mommy and daddy bringing your kid to the daycare provider, when the daycare provider is paying more to just be in business because they got to pay union dues, not getting anything for it, guess who they're going to go to for the makeup of the dough?
That's right. That's right.
And that's the one that's going to start to resonate a little bit. Listen, you've been the only voice on this, so good luck and keep fighting. But I think this is going to resonate. This one's a resonator.
I think so. We know there's going to be future battles, and we're going to be better prepared to fight that one.
All right, Mike Stenhouse. He was safe, by the way. He was safe. Your State of Mind, when we come back. Stay with us. Obviously, I was up too late last night, semi-hungover from that game when I just said to Stenhouse he was safe. I meant he was out. I didn't change my opinion. Not what he had to say, not what Jess had to say, not what Denise had to say, but it's always important what you have to say. That's a transition. I don't know. Just follow me, Rox. I know it's hard. Here's a graphic of the one of your State of Mind inputs off Facebook. Ray writes, one of the most obnoxious letters I've ever seen or read. Not the time to preach. Don't give anything out to anyone. What he's saying is a response to this wacko lady in North Dakota, who we talked about last night, who put this letter out on Halloween. This is the letter to the chubby kids. Sorry, you're a chubby kid. You get no candy. You get a letter to your mom and dad saying your kid's too chubby, don't get any candy. Well, as we speak, I'm sure your doorbell is still ringing. Don't hand out any letters. Do not discriminate. Let mom and dad take care of that at home, and I know you will. Your State of Mind, just voicemail me at 228-1886 or email me at stateofmind@myRITV.com or tweet or Facebook post. I'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30 on myRITV. Good night.